The reason I really come is because they invite the anchors to come to lunch with the president every year. It doesn't matter who the president is. When it was George Bush, we went to the president with George Bush. Now it's Barack Obama, go to the president with Barack Obama. And the one thing that is constant, there is no better food on planet Earth than what comes out of that White House kitchen. I don't know how they do it. And during this hour and every hour, at this time of year, every year, I go through in chapter and verse what we had for lunch at the White House. And here's a sneak preview. Don't get a screen cap of that, because I want it to be a surprise. I will let you know, as a tease of all of this, that I did have to Google 3 different things to know what was on my lunch menu. 3 different things were Googled. I have now found out the answer to those, and though Wikipedia is not a source to all journalists, especially the ones who work for me, I used Wikipedia as a source for these things today because really it doesn't matter. But it certainly was delicious, and we'll tell you what we had for lunch at the White House and how much wine we drank. All right, Janice, Fox News alert. It's time to begin the coverage of the luncheon. So come back, Janice. Don't go away, because we always talk about this together. Mr. Smith had a place card today, and here is the menu. Janice, you're not on the screen. Where are you?
I'm here.
All right. Well, if you were serving a salad to begin things at the White House for all the horrible reporters who were just going to say bad things about you tonight, what would you serve?
I can't even boil water, but it would probably be a bag of lettuce with the fixins already prepared.
Similar to that, but better. They had winter lettuces. Now, I looked down at the card and said, I wonder what a winter lettuce is going to be. Is it going to be like a frozen lettuce? I didn't really know. Do you know what winter lettuce? They're very pretty. They have lots of different colors. And that came with shaved vegetables.
I know that there's iceberg lettuce. Is that related?
I don't know. That sounds right. It's possible. But these were colorful lettuce, which is plural for lettuce, obviously. They had honeyed pecans in there. Do you like the pecans? They would say pecans in the north, but they would say it wrong. Honeyed pecans. Oh, there it is. See, I sent a picture of the menu in there for you. Don't take that down. We don't want them to know what's coming up later. Come on now. We're saving the rest of the meal. We'll show that later.
Did you take pictures of the meal itself on your cell phone?
One year, Janice, I took pictures in there, and you'd have thought I set off a bazooka. Because you are not allowed to take pictures when you have an off-the-record luncheon with the President of the United States.
You're right. Bad question.
It was a very bad idea of me on that time, and to the president who was in office at the time, I apologize again if you're home watching. The other thing that came with this was a Reggiano Crisp, and it turns out that's like a cracker with air holes in it, and it tastes a little bit like cheese.
It sounds delicious to me, though.
Man, and I don't know what the dressing was, but it was this really light dressing, and had some shaved carrots in there. It had somebody had parboiled, or whatever it is you do to get the skin off those little cherry tomatoes. I don't know who spends that much time working tomatoes for a salad, but they are good.
I've never heard the word parboiled before.
Well, you've never heard parboiled?
No.
I think that's what you do to some stuff to get the skin off it.
Oh, okay.
I think Nana used to say that back in the day. You're gonna parboil it, Shepard. Anyway, that's the beginning. That was the salad. We had a main course and then a dessert, and I had to Google an item in the main course, an item in the dessert, and I've also got a picture of the bottle of wine, and we'll show you all that later. It was very exciting, Janice.
This is a Fox News alert. I've learned more in the last 3 minutes in cooking culinary skills than I have in a lifetime.
Stay with me, Janice. You'll be just fine. You know who else was there?
Who?
The man, Brett Baer, was there, and he had a couple of very smart questions for the president.
He's always smart.
He's just a very smart man. It was nice to see him. He was all smiley, says the kids are good. Send his best to you. Diane Sawyer, and Brian Williams, and Scott Pelley were all there. And then Wolf Blitzer was there. I sat next to him. Wolf Blitzer likes to separate all the foods into different piles. For instance, the next course, and I'll tell you about the next course in a minute, but there was a meat, there were some vegetables there, some little, like starchy stuff, and he put the vegetables in a little pile, like there's put mushrooms here, and put them all in a separate pile before eating them. I was like, Wolf, that is an interesting way to eat.
And what did he say?
Wolf? I'm not allowed to talk about what CNN people say. I don't know why. I got a memo on it. Did you not get that? Let's see, who else was there? Gwen Eiffel was there from the PBS, and a bunch of the White House people. Yep, Valerie Jarrett was there. It was very nice. And I think one of the lines that I think the president said he might use tonight, when he says, the state of our union is fill in the blank, the state of our union is cold. It's cold, Janice.
A weather reference. I'm so excited.
See? Yeah, that's the reason he gave you the shout out. So sometime over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll go through the entree portion of things. Beef, a kind of beef I'd never heard of. And then we'll go through the dessert portion, then we'll talk about the wine from lunch at the White House today with all the fancy journalists and me. Chris Wallace is with us now. He's the anchor of Fox News Sunday, and I really thought you were going to walk over here to the Rotunda and hang out with us, but I guess, no, you're a little bit too big. You can't do that, right?
Well, listen, I just want to tell you, my lunch, I went over to the corner bakery. I had half of a chicken pesto sandwich, a bowl of chicken noodle soup. It was all in styrofoam. It could not have been more delicious.
Well, it sounds great. I usually eat from one of those outlets there at 1211 6th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan. It's about the same thing, just costs twice as much, but it also is delicious.
Where'd you have lunch today?
I had lunch at the White House. We talked about it in the first.
Okay.
You had lunch at the White House at this time last year, though, because my team and I were in Rome doing Roman things.
That's true. And
That's
I
true.
was kind of hoping you were going to be in Rome again this year, but that's not the way it worked out, so I went to the corner bakery. It was fine.
I was kind of hoping
Now,
that,
on
too,
the president's...
actually. Rick, you and I are going to talk about the luncheon at the White House. How about that?
Oh, that's great news, Shepard.
I thought you'd like that. We're going to go to the entree portion of today's festivities at the White House. Again, for those of you who are tuning in late, we had all the anchors who work on the thing tonight, the State of the Union thing. They go have lunch with the president. He tells us a bunch of stuff that we're not allowed to tell you. But I can tell you about the food. Since I can't tell you what he said, I'll tell you about the food. So, Rick, the entree today was dry-aged Piedmontese beef. Now, I was thinking, all right, what would that be? I was thinking maybe from the Piedmont region of North Carolina, like Greensboro High Point, home of Fox 8. Isn't that what you would think?
Okay.
But it's not.
Absolutely.
It's from Italy. It's from Italy. The Piedmont region of Italy. Razza bovina Piedmontese in Italian, according to the Wikipedia. A breed of cattle from that region of the Piedmont in northwest Italy. The calves are born fawn in color. Don't know what that means. Then turn gray-white as they mature. Now, Rick, when I found out that the meat that I ate today came from Italy, I'm thinking, how did they get it here? And then I thought, well, actually, maybe they just bring that breed of cattle over here, breed them here, grow them here. Then they cut them up and serve them up at the White House for us to have for lunch. What do you think?
I think that they carry them by helicopter in a sling. The cow would be in a sling, and they would just fly it across the Atlantic and then, serve it fresh.
Yep.
That way.
Come to think of it, I was probably wrong. It comes with a shallot jus, like an au jus, but a shallot jus, which I would assume means it's an au jus into which shallots have been infused, and it was so good. Rick, you got 4 pieces of the Piedmontese beef, like they were like pieces about this big. I would guess maybe we had maybe 8 ounces apiece. And they were over this 3-grain risotto, which was kind of brown in color. It was absolutely delicious with root vegetables. What kind of root vegetables would you serve with that?
I don't know, but I have some breaking food news here, Shepard.
No, we're going to continue this first. We have the little bitty pearl onions, and then what else came with it? I wrote it down.
Radishes.
Were there radishes? I wrote it down.
Radishes?
Mushrooms, squash, pearl onions, and these terrific greens.
Carrots.
I don't know what they were. They were greens. I know Jay Wallace wouldn't eat them. There were carrots in the salad. So no, they didn't have carrots with the entree.
Well, that's a shame.
What
I did learn from Dinosaur Barbecue, they don't serve dinosaur meat. They have brisket, and they have pulled and jerked chicken, which the crew ate. Pulled and jerked.
I don't like jerk chickens. I like nice chickens. So that was the entree, and with the entree, Rick, they served a Chardonnay. I don't often order a Chardonnay, but would you put the Chardonnay up on the screen? This is what they served today. This is Lewis Chardonnay from Napa, a 2011, and I got some scores on that from. It did a 92 from Wine Searcher, and it's going to retail.
Did you have more than one glass?
Nope, I had less than one glass, but I had to taste it so I could tell you about it. It retails for anywhere between $46 and $65 per bottle, plus taxes in U.S. dollars.
That sounds like good wine.
It was quite delicious, and if we could have stayed for a little while, we could have had a great afternoon if we just had enough of that wine, and I bet they do. It was really delicious, Rick. I think you would have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, I'm sorry I missed it. I wasn't invited, but in other news, Peyton Manning says that Bud Light is Papa's favorite beer.
I've actually seen Archie drink Miller Lite, not Bud Light, but since they have a contract, it probably is.
Well, that's not what he told people here at Media Day.
Guess what's coming up in the dessert section of this? I learned about a navel.
I hope it involves chocolate. I hope it involves
navel.
chocolate.
It involves a navel. Somebody named Kara and a navel. All right, time for dessert, and we'll talk about, as we have throughout the hour, the White House lunch today that the president had with the anchors who are covering the State of the Union tonight. He does that every year. Here's the menu. So here's the whole thing that we had today here at the White House lunch. Winter lettuces with shaved vegetables, honey pecans, and Reggiano crisp. Then you see the Piedmontese beef, which is obviously not from the Piedmont of North Carolina, but from Italy. And then down there at the bottom, That's Cara Cara orange tarts. Now, Janice Dean, I did not know what Cara Cara oranges were until I Googled this post-meal. Did you know what those were?
No, I don't even know what parboiled is, and people are giving me a hard time on Twitter.
Well, they should. They should. But you live in Manhattan, so you can order out. John Potratz, who's over at Bat 4, and he's going to read some of your tweets in just a minute. Ever heard of Cara Cara oranges?
No.
No, I have not.
No, you're doing a great job holding the mic there. Hey, so I Googled it for you. I don't have a big bat here. You should look at the camera when. Cara Cara oranges are red flesh navel oranges in an early to mid-season navel orange believed to have developed as a cross between a Washington navel and a Brazilian Baha'i navel.
Oh, wow. They've got a picture of them up here on the screen.
I know.
They look delicious.
I actually Googled that and got a Google image of it and put it up on the screen for you so you could see what I saw. What they did was they sliced these things really, really thin, lots of them, the round parts, and then they put them on top of a tart, John, and then they served it to us. And it was delicious with some great White House coffee. You would have loved it, I think.
Oh, that sounds great. They do it right there at the White House, huh?
Yeah, they do it. Janice, I've never made a Cara Cara orange tart, but I recommend them if you can make them in the same way that the pastry chefs at the White House made it, because they are the best on earth.
How do you eat it, with fork or a spoon?
It really wasn't easy. You know, there's a little sorbet there on the side, so I was like, I actually looked over to see what Diane Sawyer was doing, and she was using her, she actually ate hers later, but people were using their forks, so I'm like, all right, I'll try the fork, and then when I tried to cut it, of course, it exploded and almost hit Wolf Blitzer in the face. So I was embarrassed about that, but I ended up just eating it all with the fork. You know, you always use the knife and the fork up at the top of the plate for the dessert portion.
I'm worried just about the fact that Wolf Blitzer separates his vegetables and the other things on his plate.
No, I thought that was a great idea, and I didn't mean to tell that story outside of Wolf's presence, but he's not here at the moment.